We appreciate it. Joining us now, Congressman Mike Quigley, a Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, you just heard that presentation there from somebody who is an expert in all of this. What's your reaction to the president's order to declassify these documents?
Yeah, bottom line, the FBI had reason to believe that Mr. Page was becoming an agent of a foreign power, Russia. 4 different judges signed off on that and its renewals. I think it takes some of the power what the president's doing away. All those judges, by the way, were appointed by Republican presidents. And oh, by the way, this investigation didn't start because of Mr. Page. It started because of Mr. Papadopoulos. And he can blame the FBI and Justice all he wants, but they didn't cause the Russians to approach the Trump campaign or to be well received by the Trump campaign. And in the FBI and the Department of Justice didn't cause Mr. Manafort, Flynn, or Cohen to commit their crimes. The fault lies squarely with the Trump campaign here.
And President Trump has vented about the Russia probe. James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, over and over again on Twitter. Do you believe this is an abuse of power by the president?
I think it's just one step in the abuse of power. This is a president who's gotten very nervous recently. All investigations begin on the periphery. This one's gotten very close. His own private personal attorney, his former national security advisor, right? His campaign chairman have all pled guilty, and one of them implicated him. He has at least 4 top people close to him who are cooperating with the Mueller investigation. The president's recent tale is really just full of sound and fury, signifying absolutely nothing but creating a great risk for our country. The president has put his own legal security ahead of the security of the country.
And do you think that this move could actually backfire for the president? Some of these documents obviously may not work to his favor. I mean, many of these documents, the FBI, they had obviously classified these things for a reason.
Well, I think that's absolutely right. We've seen this happen before with the president. I mean, he's made wild accusations of spying on the campaign, which were successfully rebutted. We all remember the Nunes memo, in which the Department of Justice and the FBI said was dangerous and reckless to release. What was in that memo amounted to absolutely nothing. I'd like to think the American public and my Republican colleagues will look at the president's efforts for what they are, attempt to save himself. They absolutely prove nothing. Many of us have seen the unredacted applications, and I will tell you the FBI acted appropriately. If they had not acted, they wouldn't have been protecting our country.
And the White House made this announcement on the same day that a Supreme Court nominee was facing a barrage of bad headlines for an alleged sexual and physical assault. Do you think that this was just an attempt to change the narrative? Are you suspicious of that?
I think the president is constantly in a state of trying to change the narrative. And if something goes wrong, he just says something else or tweets something else. And I have to tell you, so far it has worked. He has never been fully held accountable for his actions. At some point in time, the American public has to understand and appreciate that the investigation of Mr. Kavanaugh is completely appropriate, and allowing the Mueller investigation to complete its course is necessary to protect the rule of law in our country.
And I want to ask you about a new article in the New York Times about the president's legal team. And it talks about whether or not, the president's legal team has a full scope of what was said in the Mueller investigation. There's part of it, we can put this up on screen, it says it is not clear if Mr. Trump has given his lawyers a full account of some key events in which he has been involved or as president or during his decades during his running of the Trump organization. How concerning is this, do you think? It sounds as though the president's own legal team doesn't have the full picture of what happened.
I think the president keeps his personal situation very close to the vest. I think what we've witnessed in the last several years is the president not telling anybody anything he doesn't want to get out. So I think you've seen as a result a disjointed, dysfunctional message system from the Trump legal team. And at this point in time, they're with the president on one thing. They're more worried about protecting the president politically and legally than they are protecting the country.
All right, Congressman Mike Quigley, thank you very much.